Good Erev Shabbos, everybody. This week's Parsha is that of Tazria, in which we have the laws of Tzoras, a person who has a very strange affliction on their flesh in which it cannot be attributed to any dermatological source. The person goes to the Kohen, and the Kohen examines the individual, and indeed it might prove to be an affliction, a nega of Tzoras. Tzoras is not leprosy, it is something totally different. Torah tells us that what is the halachic ramifications. The individual has to cover their head to a degree, their clothing has to be torn, and they also are not allowed to cut their hair. In addition, it says, Bodod yeshe mechutz lemachana, they have to live in isolation outside of the city limits. They're not allowed to live within the city, and they have to be isolated, meaning even if there are other people who are also in a state of impurity, they're not allowed to be together. Total quarantine. They're all alone. Our sages explain what is the source for this affliction. This is one of the most horrible experiences a person could have. Tells us that there are various reasons. A person who speaks Lashon Hara, which suggests that they consider themselves to be in a position of judging others, that they feel they are superior, they understand where others don't understand, and they can constantly offer their criticism. This is one, Gasis Ruach, a person feels very haughty, they feel very superior. Another reason is a person might feel they're very stingy, they're frugal, they do not share their well-being and good fortune with others, they don't help the poor, they don't bring in visitors and people to join them at their meals, but rather everything is for themselves. These kind of people who are so egocentric, the whole world revolves around their own well-being and how they feel. So they are brought to the realization that there is indeed an ailment of thought within them by virtue of this tzoras that afflicts them. The question is, they're afflicted. It's terrible. Now they're being told by the rabbis and the Kohen, they have to leave the city limits and they have to dwell all by themselves. We'll check on them, have to make sure that they have appropriate food, clothing, shelter, but they're to be all by themselves. How is this quarantine and isolation a means for the person to correct their character flaws? If this person is a stingy person, so I'm being sent out into isolation, if this person thinks that they understand better than the rabbis and better than the kahanim and better than communal leaders, so by putting them in isolation, what does that do? We would like to think that maybe it makes them reflect, gives them a chance to reflect and to think, what's wrong? What's happened? How did this happen to me? But in all likelihood, the person will only become more embittered and say, who do these rabbis think they are? And where do they get off to do this to me? And do they know who I am? How is the isolation a means of correcting the problem? In addition, in the Sefer HaYetzirah, one of the Kabbalistic writings, it says that there is no worse experience in this world than one who is afflicted with a nega, the affliction of tzoras. And there is also no greater experience in this world than one who delights, has the oneg of Shabbos. And they say that if we can change the nega into the oneg, what does that mean? The word nega that refers to the affliction of tzoras is spelled nun, gimel, ayin. These are the identical letters that spell the word oneg, ayin, nun, gimel. So if we can hofach hanega, if we can change the affliction and rearrange the letters, that it should be oneg. This is the means of the individual being able to correct their ways. What does this mean? How do we comprehend this statement? The Chidah says that when this Metzora, the person with the nega, who is in isolation, and he's outside the city limits by himself, should he see anybody coming on the road or whatever, he has to say, Tome, Tome, I'm impure, stay away. Why does it have to be stated twice? The Torah should say, V'tome yikra, and he should declare to anyone who's near him, I'm impure. Why the repetition? The Chidah explains that, what does it mean, Tome, impure, he shall declare? It means that a person who is impure is because they perceive impurity in others. Tome, he who sees impurity in others, or he who is impure, Tome Yikra, he's going to declare impurity in others. He only sees the bad in others. That's an indication that this person has this affliction within his own character. And that has to be removed. How is it removed? It's removed during this period of isolation in which he has to reflect not just on what's happening to him, because that's his whole perspective in life. It's all about me, but rather, what's the meaning of this? What's the meaning of these laws and this procedure that God has decreed? That I should be all alone and I should be saying, I who see impurity in others, I'm impure. That means the Torah is revealing not only the issue that he has, but the means of correcting it. I'm experiencing this impurity because I only see impurity in others. I criticize others. I speak about others, lashon hara. I don't want to share with others what I have. I've earned it. It all belongs to me. And let somebody else be concerned with the less fortunate. I'll talk about everyone because I can see I'm the maven who understands. The person begins to realize that's what this is all about. It's my sensing impurity of others. That's what is revealing the impurity within myself. How do I change it? Now that the Torah is showing me how to go about correcting by reflecting, how do I achieve this? And that's the meaning in the Kabbalistic teachings. We have the nega, the affliction. What is the affliction? Always seeing the worst in others. Change the nega to oneg, to delight, meaning see the good and delight in others. No one's perfect. We're all far from perfect. Don't look at the bad. Don't look at what we can criticize. Look at the good. Look at what another person, this person is poor and they're always collecting. Look what they have to endure. And yet they haven't resolved the crime. They haven't turned to nefarious behavior. Look at the good in each individual. Find the good, see it, delight in it. That's what we should speak about, what we can learn from the wonderful good behavior of others. This is what it means. Change the nega into oneg. When we can see the good in other human beings and we can see the good in our privilege of serving Hashem, person shouldn't say, oh, I got to get up early in the morning. I got to go to services. I get up an hour earlier than everybody else. I have to fast on Yom Kippur and Tisha B'Av. I have to, I'm not allowed to do this. I can't do that. I can't say this. I can't eat this. It's, this is there. See the good. See the delight. See how Hashem is giving us a unique special diet, which deals with our holy souls. See how Hashem is giving us not days of restriction of Shabbos and Yontif, but days that will release us from the bondage of our responsibilities and enable us to enjoy our family, our friends, and our relationship with our Creator. See the good, search out the good. Don't make our judgments based on how I feel, what I think, but seek out the wisdom and sagacity of our sages, of the greatest thinkers and the most righteous human beings who've existed and whose works we have for thousands of years. See the good, sense the good, change the nega to oneg, and then we'll be able to change ourselves. This is what the Parsha is teaching us. It's true, without the temple, these laws are not relevant today. We don't have tzaras today. It doesn't exist. But the concept does. Those who are constantly critical and miserable and complaining and judging and feel superior, they know better than rabbis, they know better than Torah, they know better than this, they know better, they know and improve, they're constantly going to do. They won't find their happiness. It's an affliction. Seeing the bad is a reflection of what exists within them. See the good, delight in others, delight in our Torah, delight in our mitzvahs, delight in our faith, and then we'll be able to delight with ourselves, and that shall overflow in our relationships with our spouses, with our children, with our families, with our friends, and give us a true meaning and happiness in life. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay Jewish. Have a wonderful Shabbos.